Okay, hello everyone. First, can you tell me if you can hear me fine, loud and clear?
Yes, you're audible clearly.
Okay, so let me just share my slides first. Wait a second. Please tell me if you can see my slides. You can see the presentation and if...
Yes, the presentation is
Sorry?
the screen is visible.
Wait a second. Just okay. Now, is it good?
Yes, it is clearly visible.
Okay. Okay, so hello everyone. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm Rida Fatima, and I'm here today to share my knowledge and experience and what I know about astrobiology. And and I would love to hear your ideas and if you have anything to share with me about astrobiology at the end of this session. So this session is mostly about what is astrobiology and what sort of work are we doing in this field and what questions are we trying to answer in this field. So I hope it's going to be very helpful for those who are planning to do research or planning to start research in this field, or those who are trying to figure out which research topic or which research pathway to choose in astrobiology. Now, before moving ahead, let me share a bit about myself. I'm in the final year of my master's degree in industrial biotechnology from NUST in Islamabad, Pakistan. And I'm currently involved in the field of astrobiology through different channels. I'm a member of Astrobiology, member of Network of Pakistan, where we organize and arrange different activities to spread awareness in my country. I also work with Mareekh Dynamics in Australia, which is a space technology startup company. It offers engineering solutions for establishing human habitation on Mars. And I don't have any kind of engineering academic background. So my work is mostly related to greenhouse on Mars and what kind of plant species we can grow there, and how we can make Martian regolith suitable for plants. And I'm also the part of I'm a part of Astrobiology Society of America. I write articles for their blog. I had the privilege to participate in the International Astronautical Congress in Dubai in 2021, and it was a great experience. And it was the first time I met astronauts there, so that's why. So, okay. And if you have any questions or if you want to connect after our session, feel free to reach out through this email. And I'm also very active on LinkedIn, so I will share the link in the comment section after the session. So this is my most favorite astrobiology quote by Carl Sagan. Somewhere something incredible is waiting to be known. I always share this in the beginning whenever I have to give a talk somewhere, because every time I hear this saying, it always kind of ignites my passion for astrobiology. And I feel like it kind of connects with the excitement that we feel about this field and for exploring the new things in space exploration. So, yes, astrobiology is the study of life in the universe, and it's a field that brings together different scientific disciplines to explore some very fundamental and some very big questions about life in the universe. So,
Excuse me.
it's an inter.
Sorry to interrupt, but your voice is not audible properly.
Okay. So, is it good now?
It is very cracked.
Oops. Wait. Okay. So, is it cracked for everyone, or? Hello? Hello?
Yeah, you're audible.
Okay. Should I continue?
Yes, please.
Okay. I don't know. I'm actually first time I'm using Google Meets and I'm sharing my slides there. So if I get stuck somewhere, please do let me know.
Just make the screen a full screen. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So astrobiology, I just where was I? Okay. So astrobiology, it is the study of life in the universe, and it's a field that brings together different scientific disciplines to explore some big questions. And as it is an interdisciplinary field, so even if you're not into any biology related field, or even if you're into engineering or something related to that, you can still jump into astrobiology research. And there are three key questions that astrobiologists mainly focus on. First, how life began and evolved. Could it have grown in some kind of bubbly mud vents in some kind of a mud volcano on Earth, or somewhere in the deep sea oceans in the hydrothermal vents? So we are going to talk about that later. So how life started on Earth is one of the greatest mystery, and it is still unresolved. It is still an unresolved issue. Astrobiologists, they explored the origin of life and what were the processes that led to the emergence and evolution of living things. So that's where astrobiology connects with evolutionary biology and geology. The next question is there life beyond Earth? And if there is, then how can we detect it? So the search for extraterrestrial life is like the central focus of astrobiology. Here we use different methods to detect signs of life on Earth, on other planets and their moons. And each time when we find something new or something unusual, like for example, like water coming out from Enceladus, or the subsurface ocean of Europa, it always helps us to get closer to figuring out the question of life in the universe. And finally, we have the last question in astrobiology, the key question: what is the future of life on Earth and in the universe? So, astrobiology is not just about exploring or trying to discover rocks or some extinct microorganism. It's also about understanding the resilience and the adaptability of life. How life adapts under the harsh condition, like how it will adapt under the harsh conditions of, or the difficult conditions of Mars or Moon. So these are the questions we ask and work on in astrobiology. Where did we come from? Where are we going? And are we alone? So whether you're a scientist, or just a stargazer, or an engineer, or an artist, or astrobiology has a place for you. Multiple different search types. So when scientists they explore the idea of finding life in space, they mainly look for two types of signs of life. They either try to find signs of intelligent life, and which this job is often done by the SETI Institute, which stands for Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. So scientists at SETI, they use radio telescopes to look for proof of intelligent beings in some other star system. This is because they use radio signals because they can easily travel through vast distance, or distance between the stars. And other signs of and the other sign of life, they are related to the life as we know it, the life as we know it on Earth. So when we are hunting for signs of life, we are we are looking for places that are quite similar to what we know here on Earth. We search for planets where life as we know it could exist, could survive in the form of microorganisms, maybe, because life on Earth, it also started in the form of microbes. And scientists, they believe that maybe there is a planet somewhere in the universe, there is a planet somewhere where life has just started to show up, and the conditions there, they are more like they were in the primordial Earth. So we are looking for we also look for biosignatures, which they can be morphological biosignatures, like for example, fossils, stromatolites are the fossil records of the first form of life on Earth. It is like a layered, you can say it is like a layered rock formation created by some ancient microorganisms, or it can be chemical biosignatures like organic molecules. So these are the pictures of stromatolites on Earth. They are, I think they are of different patterns because they both were made by different kind of life. Maybe some one was from cyanobacteria, or the other one was from some something more sulfur reducing bacteria or something. Okay, so what is life made up of? So now we know that astrobiology, it is all about the hunt for life in the universe, but you cannot start looking for alien life without knowing what life on earth is made up of. So that's why you must be aware of some important first, complex molecules. They are the building block of life. They include lipids, DNA, RNA, the nucleic acid. So that's why understanding them will help us to figure out how life might form on other planets. And life also needs energy source. So life needs energy. uh, Even every living thing needs some kind of a power source to survive. So knowing how different energy sources work, it will also help us to pinpoint where life could be thriving in the universe. And it also needs us life also needs a stable environment, because life needs a stable environment because it likes stability. Now you can imagine living in a place that is constantly changing, so that even sounds uncomfortable. So that's why life likes stability. And that's why astrobiologists, they're trying to find environment that can provide a steady home for living things, living organisms. And biogeochemical cycles, these are you can say that biogeochemical cycles are like the heartbeat of ecosystem. We study here we study how elements like carbon or like nitrogen, they get passed around between living things and their environment. This will also help us to understand if a place has a stable environment or not. So life is all about, we know life is all about growth and change. So it adapts to where it lives. That's why learning how organisms reproduce and evolve will also help us to understand how life can adapt to different environments. So yes, now we know the basic requirements for life as we know it are liquid water, energy, and the complex molecules. So let's move to exoplanet discoveries. There was a time when we thought our solar system is unique, and but now we know that there are other stars having planets, and we call those planets exoplanets. So exoplanets okay. Um, Exoplanets are the planets that are outside of our solar system, and they are orbiting other stars in our galaxy. And now,
Excuse me.
yes.
Excuse me, Rita, I can't see your screen. It's only showing that you are presenting and your display picture is visible to me, but I can't see your screen.
You can you see the slide?
No, no, no. I can only see that you are presenting. It's written on the screen that you are presenting and your display picture.
So, okay, so you cannot see the slides. Let me see.
Yeah, now it's visible. And now I can see it.
Now you can see the slide.
Yeah.
Okay, but I cannot see my slides now. I don't know. Where- Wait, now?
Yes, yes.
Okay. I think I shouldn't start the slideshow. Maybe then it gets. Okay, now it's good?
Yeah, visible.
Okay. Okay, so uh, exoplanet discoveries, where were we? Okay, so exoplanets, they are the planets outside of the solar system, and we have detected around, I think, around 5,000 more or less exoplanets that are orbiting around different stars. And many of those planets, they are in the habitable zone of their stars, which means that they are not very close and they are not very far from their stars. They are at a perfect distance where liquid water could exist, which makes it suitable for life. And you can see here in this picture, Earth and Mars are in the habitable zone of Sun. We know life exists on Mars. Oh, sorry, on Earth, and Mars. We are still not sure, but it is in the.
Rida, the screen is, I think it is not visible again.
I don't know it. I think I should end the slideshow. This is now. Is it good?
Yeah.
I think okay.
I cannot
I'll
see it
keep it
again.
like this.
It's again showing that you are presenting and your display picture. Again, the same issue. I don't know what's happening.
Okay.
For me, it is the
I'll-
voice. Your voice is not very clear for
It's
me.
it's fluctuating between the screen and the slide I'm seeing.
Okay. So
You can
what if I share my slides?
you can just rejoin the
Sorry?
meeting once you can rejoin the meeting, then I think
Okay, let me. Sorry, my mic was on mute. Okay, so okay, is it good now?
Yeah,
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So should I start again, or it's I should start from here? I should continue.
Can you
You can
start
continue.
from beginning?
Sorry.
Like थोड़ा सा और पीछे after the questions?
After the question, यहाँ से?
No. More ahead. I've done this. Yes, from here.
Okay, exoplanet discoveries. Okay, so I think I should keep it like this. Slideshow now start करूँ यहाँ से. Is it good now? Okay. I think it's good. Okay, so, we were talking about the exoplanet discoveries, and I so there was a time when we thought that there was that our solar system is unique and it is the only one. But now we are aware that there are other star systems and there are other planets orbiting around them. So we call them exoplanets, and exoplanets, they are the planets that orbit that are outside of our solar system, and they are orbiting their own stars in our galaxy. And we have detected around
I
5,000
can't see the screen again.
the screen is again not visible.
The same issue.
Should I send you my slides? Maybe you can play them.
Yeah,
Are
that
you
will be
doing
good.
a window capture, or are you sharing the entire screen?
Is it good now?
Yeah, we can see it now.
Okay. Okay, I'll start. I hope it stays like this. So Yes, you can see in this picture, uh, you can see that Earth and Mars, they are in the habitable zone, and we know that life exists on on Earth, but we are still not sure about Mars. But it is in the it is at the edge of the habitable zone of its star. That's why if we know what life needs, it will help us to identify planets where it might exist. And these are some of the exoplanets present in the habitable zone of their stars. And one of the planets here, you can see TRAPPIST 1e. It is thought to be the most likely to support life as we know it. And so there was in 2018 there was a study, and it found that some of these planets, they could hold more water than Earth's ocean. This shows the presence of water is not very, if it is true, then it shows that the presence of water is not very unique in the universe. I'm on the next slide now. Okay, it's how biologists can find life on other planet. So um, yeah, to find life on other planets, first we need to understand our own planet, how life works on Earth. So that's why biologists, they study Earth to understand how life exists on our planet. We have to study the life at a molecular level to understand the building block of life, and how to understand how DNA works, RNA, proteins, and all, and how do they form, and what was the origin of life on Earth. So geoastrobiology, it is another field. It is a multidisciplinary field, and it focuses on the study of habitable environments and the biology of organisms that can survive in extreme conditions. So it's a multidisciplinary field, and it connects geology, biology, and astronomy. Now, analog research stations, they can be used to study how life adapts and survives in extreme environment. For example, here in Pakistan, we have province Balochistan, and there are about 130 unexplored mud volcanoes in Pakistan, and they are like untouched by humans. They're unexplored. They can be used as an analog station to study microbial life.
Rida, sorry to interrupt again. The screen is again not visible.
I don't know. I'm not doing anything. I don't know what is happening. Can you share your email or something? I can share. I can send you the slides.
Yeah, just send me the. Yeah, I am giving the email ID in my chat. Just wait. Just let me know when you have sent the PPT.
Yes, you can check.
Just a moment. Yeah, can you see my screen?
Yes. Okay, you can. I think we were on how biologists can find life on another planet. I don't know the slide number. It was, we were on. Okay, slide number 8. Can you go to slide number 8, please? Hello? Okay, okay. So we were talking about the
Sorry
analog
for the
research
interrupt. I
station.
just got disconnected.
Okay.
Just wait. I'm just sharing my screen.
Okay. Okay. Can you go to slide number 8, please? Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Okay, so we were talking about the analog research stations. They can be used to study how life can adapt and survive in extreme environments. They're like simulations. So, for example, I was telling you guys that here in Pakistan, we have our province Balochistan. And in Balochistan, there are about 130 uh, unex one sorry, is there something wrong? Okay. Okay, so there are about 130 unexplored mud volcanoes here in Pakistan, and they are totally untouched by humans. And they can be used as analog stations to study how microbial life can thrive under the harsh conditions. And you know, analog studies, they are important because they provide a sort of bridge between what we know on Earth and what we hope to discover on Mars. We can simulate Martian conditions here in the analog stations, and that's how we can better understand how life might exist under the stressful environment. And I would uh, okay, okay, and sorry, are you saying something to me? Okay. So I would love to know if there is any such geological region in India as well for analog studies. I'm sure there are, but I'm not aware of any analog stations or regions in India. So we can talk about that in the end if anyone wants to share anything. Okay, so we can go to our next slide now. The search for a second genesis of life in our solar system. Now, what is the second genesis of life? This is an important concept because scientists, they are curious about the possibility of life starting in a different way than it did on Earth. It means that we are not just searching for life as we know it, but we are also trying to find the possibility of life starting in a completely different way. This is called the second genesis of life. And it says that maybe somewhere far away in the cosmos on some planet there is a new kind of life present that doesn't need what we need for survival. It has no link with us, and we don't share any kind of common ancestor. It is completely independent. So this is a very important concept. And because if someday we are able to find some evidence of a second genesis of life, then it is going to be a very big deal, because it would mean that life might be very common in the universe than we thought. It is an exciting and important part of the field of astrobiology, which is all about understanding the potential of for life beyond Earth. So that's why we are looking for signs of life in places like Mars. We have Europa, the moon of Jupiter, and Enceladus, the moon of Saturn. So you should know that there are many icy worlds in our own solar system that may have water. And so far we have And so far we have evidence of water in the form of ice, vapors, and even oceans. Now, next slide is okay. The main targets for the search of life. So Mars is obviously it is the main target, and it is the nearest, because it is the nearest target for the search for microbial life. It is not the closest planet. The closest planet is Venus, but due to its harsh conditions, life is might be impossible there. So that's why we are focusing on Mars, and Europa is the moon of Saturn. It is believed to have an ocean beneath its icy surface, which makes it a target for microbial life. It is the Europa is the moon of Jupiter, yeah. So Enceladus, it is the moon of Saturn, planet Saturn, the one that has rings around it, and it has a visible ring around it. So it has shown potential. Enceladus, it has also shown some potential for facilitating the microbial survival, which makes it a key target for the search for life beyond Earth. Now, Mars is the primary focus for the search of life, because now we know that it had different atmosphere in the past than it has today. So you can say that back in the days, Mars was warm and it had water. So it was the time when life on Earth was just starting to show up. And just next slide, please. So the Jezero crater. So the Jezero crater, life on Mars. So the Jezero crater, it is a place on Mars, and it was once a water-filled lake. So it is like you can say it is like an ancient Martian lake, and it is also the location where the NASA's Perseverance rover is present, and it is trying to Perseverance there is trying to explore this crater for signs of life. And you can see in this picture. Can you move uh, next slide? Yeah. Okay. So you can see in this picture, here, it's the Jezero crater on Mars. You can observe and you can clearly observe the dried up water channels here. So according to a Perseverance rover, there are some layers of sediments that are found in the craters, and it also proves that water once existed here. But now it has changed into a delta-like landform, and the sediments are like, you could say, they're like solid material that is moved, and then it is deposited in a new location. It's like a mixture of rock and mineral that settles down at the bottom of the liquid. So it is the place. So Jezero crater is the place on Mars which makes finding fossilized life more possible here. So that's why scientists they're waiting for the return of Martian samples that were collected by the Perseverance rover, and water on Mars linked to life. So now we know that there is water on Mars in the form of it can be in the form of permafrost or permanent ice, or permanent ice on the poles, or it can be in the form in seas or oceans under the surface. And we also know that water is essential for life as we know it. So its presence on Mars it increases the chances of life having existed there in the past. But we know that the conditions were never suitable to support any kind of you can say higher form of life. So water is there, we know, but it doesn't prove that life was there as well. We still need a lot of other kind of evidence, like some kind of a fossil record on Mars. Next is Europa, the moon of Jupiter. Yeah. Okay. So this is not the real picture of Jezero. It's like an artist impression showing how the Jezero crater might have looked like in the past, filled with water. Okay. So next. Europa, the moon of Jupiter. So Europa is the moon of Jupiter. The surface of Europa is made up of ice, and there is liquid water beneath the surface, and there are hydrothermal vents and underwater volcanoes. So and hydrothermal vents, they are present on next slide. So yeah, these are the hydrothermal vents, and they are present on Earth as well in our oceans. You can say it is like superheated seawater that interacts with the magma beneath the Earth crust, and it comes out from the ocean floor. And the temperature of this water can be around you can say 150 degrees centigrade, and this water is also rich in minerals. So the hydrothermal vents, they create a unique ecosystem around them where life is able to thrive. So the first living cells may have formed around 4 billion years ago around these hydrothermal vents, because if we talk about the primordial Earth, hydrothermal vents were present in the oceans at that time as well. And there are some, and you know, the most interesting thing is that there are some kind of geological features present on the surface of Europa, which show that maybe underwater volcanoes and hydrothermal vents are also present inside the surface, inside the subsurface ocean of Europa. And so NASA is going to launch its new mission to Europa. It is called the Europa Clipper. So the Europa Clipper will launch in October 2024 this year. This was the last updated date I saw. I don't know if they have changed it now. And if it launches in October 2024, then it will reach its destination somewhere around 2030s. I know the wait is very long. So in okay, next slide. Okay, Enceladus, which is the moon of Saturn. Saturn, it is 25 times smaller than Earth. And you know, in 2017 or 2016 or 2017, I think, 2017, Cassini-Huygens spacecraft, which was sent by NASA, European Space Agency, and Italian Space Agency. So it was like a collaborative mission planned by all three of these space organizations. It was planned to explore Saturn and its moon. So when it was when Cassini spacecraft was doing a flyby of Enceladus, it observed huge water geysers or water plumes coming out from the surface of Enceladus, and this clearly shows that there is an ocean inside. You can see in this picture at the bottom, these are the water plumes coming out of Enceladus. And it was not just water, but Cassini was also able to find some ingredients required for the synthesis of amino acids. Amino acids, they are the building block of life, and they make proteins, and proteins are present in all sort of living organisms. Enzymes are proteins, and antibodies, they are also proteins. So if we talk about the future missions or plans, NASA is planning a mission to Enceladus. I think they have finalized the proposal, but the working will start in around 2029 or 2028, and it will launch in 2030s, somewhere in 2030s, and it will reach Enceladus somewhere in 2050s. I know the wait is long, but it's always worth it, because this there are a lot of mysteries in space. So that's why. Okay, next slide. Okay, this is an example of water eruption on Earth. These are the water geysers. That's how they look like. Okay. Okay, next slide. Space microbiology. Okay, so my research is also related to space microbiology. It is the study of microorganisms in the context of space exploration. And now we know that microbes, they are the simplest form of life. They play some kind of they play a significant role in digestion, and they also help to develop our immune system. So they might be small and tiny, but their impact on space research is very huge. Because there are some microorganisms, they can be dangerous for astronaut health in space, but on the other side, there are some environmental microbes that can be used in advanced life support system, and they can also play an important role in space agriculture. For example, they can promote plant growth, or they can improve the fertility of the soil. For example, you can say, there is a compound or agents that is secreted by some bacteria, and they are called cytophores. And cytophores, they basically help in the uptake of iron. They boost the iron uptake mechanism of plants. So that's how they can help in space agriculture, the microorganisms. And in space, we mostly focus on we focus on the microbes called extremophiles. That extremophiles are those microorganisms that can survive under the harsh conditions as well. And there were some microorganisms that were able to survive the near vacuum conditions of space. And I'm working on one of them. It's called the Bacillus pumilus, and the strain is SAFR strain. So you can also check that out. It's very interesting. So the extremophiles, they have evolved to thrive in some of the Earth's most extreme environments. So that's why studying the extremophile will help us to understand how life can adapt under harsh conditions. We can study about their DNA, their genome, their proteins, and we can also find out what kind of mutations or changes come in their DNA during the space flight when they are in space. And what have we learned? Okay, next slide. Okay, so what have we learned that could only be revealed in space? Now, scientists, they were able to make some very important discoveries about the microbial life, and now we know that microbes, they can become resistant to antibiotics. Their growth rate changes, their metabolic activity can change in space, because for the microorganisms in space, it's more of a it's more of a survival of the fittest kind of situation, because their focus is mainly towards those genes and proteins which will help them in survival. And and space travel, it can also affect the bacterial biofilm formation as well, because biofilm formation is how microorganisms, they stick together to form a film. It's also a kind of biofilm formation is a kind of protective strategy of microorganisms under difficult conditions. And other than that, microorganisms, they also show increase in virulence after spending time in space, which means they become more harmful and more virulent. For example, there was a research in which Salmonella typhimurium, it's a microorganism. It was grown in space in ISS, and it showed more virulence as compared to the ones that were grown here on Earth. And space microbiology is still a very young field, and you can do a lot in this field if you are interested in working with microorganisms, like bacteria or viruses or fungi or something. So, next slide. Okay, thank you. What is the frontier for microbial space research? Now, microbial space research, it is a field that explores how microorganisms, they behave in space. There are different areas of exploration, research, and application in this field that you can work on. These are these are some of the areas of space microbiology in which you can work on. Microbial adaptation to space conditions. There is microbial adaptation to space condition. Microbes can adapt to the difficult. It means that microbes, they can adapt to difficult conditions of space. They can overcome challenges like challenges and difficulties like there's microgravity in space, microgravity in ISS, and radiation. Radiation exposure is very harsh, and they can survive. How they can survive under vacuum conditions, and temperature is different, humidity is different, pressure is different. So understanding how microorganisms can adapt to these space environment is very important for different applications, like the development of a sustainable life support system. Microorganisms, because microbes, they can carry out different life support functions. For example, they can help in waste degradation. They can help to make the dirty water more clean and water recovery, and they can also help in oxygen production and in space agriculture as well. So scientists, they're also working to understand how different microbes, they interact and function in space, to ensure that their beneficial roles are not compromised. And bioproduction and manufacturing, so they're not just cleaning up. So microorganisms, they are not only used for cleaning up and making the air breathable for astronauts. They might help us to produce other things like medicines or building materials, or even as food for astronauts. Microorganisms, they are studied for their potential for bioproduction. That's why. So they can help in the manufacturing of pharmaceuticals and durable materials, even food. So in this research, it wants to see and explore the different ways in which microorganisms can be useful for astronauts. There is also another very interesting field. It's the biomining. Yes, biomining. It is new for me. I don't have any much experience in that. So if anyone knows about that, please do share that with me at the end. I really want to know about that, biomining. Okay, so this is Okay, so another important frontier in space, in microbial space research, is the omic studies and the microbiome research. These two are the biology terms. So in easy words, you can say that omics is the study of genome, transcriptome, and proteome. So basically, it's all about the DNA, RNA, genes, and proteins. And microbiome, it is the collection of microbes that are living inside us, and they are helping us to stay healthy and well. So omic studies will help us to understand the changes in microbiome of astronauts during space flight. So there is a change in microbiome of astronauts during the space flight, which is a sign of trouble because it can cause disease. So if you are interested in space medicine, then this is where you can work on. And finally, so the next slide. Okay, so these are the multiple pathways for research and exploration. So these are some of the interesting pathways you can choose if you are interested in astrobiology, and this is for those who might be having trouble in deciding a research pathway for this field, because I had to work a lot to decide my topic, and so I thought maybe I can share this. Understand the nature and distribution of habitable environment in the universe. Finding the ideal habitat will tell us where to focus our search for life. It will be like a guiding light for future telescopes and our future space missions. So these are the places, these habitable places, these are the places with the right conditions for life, like they'll have comfy temperature and maybe even some water and oxygen. Uh, oxygen is not very important, because there were, back in the days, back in the primordial earth, there were some microorganisms that even survived under the conditions when there was no oxygen on earth. Those were, they are called the anaerobic microorganisms. Like, for example, the methane producing bacteria, they can survive under in an environment where there is no oxygen. So oxygen is not very important, maybe, if you're looking for microbes. So understanding different types of habitable environment might reveal some kind of unexpected life form that are maybe the second genesis of life, the unexpected life form that we are not aware of. They might be living in ways that we have never imagined, or we haven't we wouldn't even expect. So you know that next okay so you know that even in our own solar system, it is full of candidates for life. We have Mars, we have Europa, we have Enceladus. We do know that there might not be any higher form of life in our solar system, but there might be microorganisms somewhere, maybe in the oceans, in the deep hidden oceans. So there is no sign of any higher form of life, but there can be microorganisms somewhere in our own solar system. Research in our own solar system is more accessible. I know the distance is very far, but still it is not very far that we can do research in in our own solar system. And it can answer some of the most fundamental questions about life's resilience and adaptability, how life can adapt under the harsh conditions. So if we study these worlds, it could tell us if life ever existed beyond Earth and if it is still there. And early life, okay, determine how early life and interacted. Okay, so have you ever wondered if have you ever wondered how did simple molecules transformed into the first living cells? We still don't know that. We are still not aware of how simple molecules they transformed into the first living cells. There are a lot of hypotheses, but we still don't know. It is still unresolved. So here on Earth, life started in the form of a single-celled organism, and single-celled organism to some multicellular ones, and from there it kept changing into much more complex life form. So if you are interested in knowing how rare or common life is in the universe and whether the conditions that led to the emergence of life, they are unique or not, then this pathway is right for you. You can explore the topics like RNA world hypothesis, which says that RNA played the main role in transforming the simple molecules into the first living cells. There is a lot of study about that. So understanding early life's relationship with its environment will also help us to predict how the future climate change is going to impact life here on Earth. So you can also explore the incredible ways life evolves and adapts, and what are the limits that life can handle in different environments. Because from extremophiles that can thrive in boiling vents to the creatures that can survive in the near vacuum conditions, life always pushes the limits of existence. So astrobiology, you can say, this study, it shows what life is capable of. And so in the end, I just want to say that our planet is we know that our planet is changing quickly, and it's important to understand how life adapts to these changes, like for example pollution or climate change. And this is also going to help us to predict and manage the future of life here on earth. So while we talk about the life in the universe, the whole point is to look for biosignatures, so which are the signs of life, because it will also help us to recognize life on other planets and in the past on earth as well. So this is the main goal for astrobiology, the study of life in the universe. So if you're interested in astrobiology, then I would suggest that you should look into these areas of research and find out the topic of your interest, and yeah, just start exploring because this field is full of amazing discoveries waiting to be known. So this was the last slide, and thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for listening, and I'm so sorry for all the trouble. Okay.
Okay, guys, if you have any questions or queries,
Yes. Oh, I can share my email as, wait a second. Oh yes, I think someone is telling about the analog stations. Oh, hot spring. Okay. Mm. Okay, this is my email ID, and
if anybody is having any queries, just ask. Okay. Rita, I think there are two questions in the chat.
oops, I didn't realize I was on mute. Okay. So is there any role of computer science in astrobiology? Well, yes, I am working on something related to that. I'm working in computational biology, and I'm trying to find out some of the unique genes that are present in those bacteria that can survive under the harsh conditions of ISS. Because of microorganisms, it is a bit harsh. There are a lot of ROS, the reactive oxygen species are there, and the radiation exposure is very harsh. So yes, I'm using some of the simulation tools to work on that. And yes, there is a role of computer science in astrobiology. And if you want to talk about that more, you can just email me, and we can arrange some session as well on that. So is there a difference between astrobiology and yes, well, there is a difference in astrobiology. I should have mentioned that before as well. I'm sorry, but thank you for asking. So space biology and astrobiology are quite same in a way that they both talk about life in the universe, but there is a small difference. that there is a small difference. In astrobiology, we mainly focus on the origin, the evolution, and the distribution of life in the universe. Just like we talked about the exoplanets in the habitable zone, and if there is if there are any kind of biosignatures on them or not, that is more astrobiology. And in space biology, we try to find what how the earthly life will respond to the harsh condition of space. For example, space medicine is more related to space biology, or how astronauts how the microbiome of astronaut will change under the space conditions. So that is more related to space biology. How would low gravity on Mars stress? Okay, so yes, low gravity is going to be a stressful factor on the plants, but we are not going to grow the plants in the open air, under the atmosphere of Mars, because there are a lot of other harsh and difficult factors as well. So my research where I work on, they're planning how we can grow the how we can grow plants in the greenhouse of Mars, where there won't be the gravity, and there is going to be some kind of artificial environment there, and the environment will be controlled, so plants will not have any difficult conditions like that. Because if we talk about the Martian regolith, if we try to grow, if we say that yes, we can grow plants in the Martian soil, then it won't be possible, because there are a lot of difficult and difficult things that we have to face. There is for example, you can say that there is a lot of permafrost, the perchlorate, sorry, yes, perchlorates present in the soil. So we have to work on that. We have to work on a strategy to remove those perchlorates. So that's how. So we cannot say that we can grow plants under the open air of Mars, where there are a lot of different and difficult factors, and low gravity is also one of them. Are there any citizen science projects in astrobiology? No, sorry, I'm not aware of that, because no, I'm not aware of that citizen science project. Okay. What is it? Why not bring an extra rover within ExoMars? Okay, maybe NASA is planning to do that as well, but I'm not sure about that. Okay, what is this?